or has gotten a whiff that some persons either have undermined the democracy or planning to undermine the democracy. But once again, there's been no prosecution, there's been no trial, there's been no conviction. So is the U.S. serving as judge, jury, judge and jury in this case, determine who these democracy underminers are and go ahead to dish out punishments for them. Now, if some of these persons are contesting these elections, already occupy elective positions, so if they are sanctioned by the U.S. for undermining the democracy in Nigeria, is it possible that after having been sanctioned by the U.S., these persons are still honorables and excellencies in Nigeria, in the system, undermining the system, undermining our democracy? Let's talk about this for a bit. Lines open. Call 0700 923 093. At 0700 923 093. The number is to call. Also, let's see. We're live on facebook.com/Nigeria Info PH. Live on facebook.com /Nigeria Info PH. Also, we're live on Twitter at Nigeria Info PH. A reminder, call 0700 923 093. So the US's planned visa restrictions, a visa ban on persons undermining Nigeria's democracy or rigging elections. Who determines who that is? Who determines who the democracy underminer is in Nigeria? Is it Nigeria who determines that, or is it the US who determines that? And if the US determines that on democracy, was it signed with a visa ban or restriction or restrictions into the, would there be any punishment here? Should there be? Hard fact to welcome. Hard fact to welcome. Please go on. 92.3, hello.
Hello?
Hi, you're welcome. Go ahead. Go ahead, please.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead, please.
Hello?
Go ahead, please.
Okay. I think that idea is to show Nigerians how they care for us, and then also let us understand that corruption, we have been reading with corruption, so they don't want anything like that in their side, so that whosoever is corrupt here should remain here. I think that's all.
All right. Once again, 0700 923 093 is the number to call. You can also join me via facebook.com /Nigeria Info PH, also via Twitter at Nigeria Info PH. Who determines who these persons are who are undermining our democracy? And even if the U.S. decides to issue a visa ban on these persons, if the U.S. some way somehow is able to determine who these persons are that are undermining Nigeria's democracy, and thus goes ahead to declare a visa ban against these persons, does it stop them from undermining Nigeria's democracy? I mean, would that do that? I mean, the essence of any punishment is to serve as a deterrent. Would it deter them from going ahead or from forging ahead in a quest to undermine Nigeria's democracy? Would it do that? Would it stop them in any way? You know, and also these persons who are undermining Nigeria's democracy or have undermined it or plan to undermine it will be envisioned again. Should that be enough? The U.S. has simply restricted, entry into the U.S. Against these persons. Should their identity be made public? Should the U.S. publish the names of these persons? I mean, should the U.S. be the only one to know who the persons are that are undermining our democracy? Do Nigerians not have a right to know as well? For example, the good people of Rivers State, or by extension, the good people of Nigeria, the masses, the ordinary folks, do they deserve to know who these persons are that are undermining Nigeria's democracy? Call 0700 923 093. Joining via Facebook and Twitter at Nigeria Info PH. Hello, hard fact to welcome. Please go on.
Hello.
Hello, you're welcome. Go ahead.
Hello.
Good evening to you. You're live on radio. Please go on.
Please can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Go ahead.
My network.
Hello, hot factor. Welcome. Please go on.
Hello.
Hello. Go ahead.
Okay. It does not stop the people. It's not a deterrent. It's just that if those people are going to travel to the United States, they won't be allowed entry. But does it stop them from stopping what they're doing? I don't think so.
So, what's the essence of this then? Do you think there's any value to what the U.S. is doing?
I don't think that's really a value, actually, unless there will only be a value if those people have interest in visiting the United States.
Why would the person want to visit the U.S. in the first place if they didn't have any interest visiting the U.S.?
Naturally, anybody who wants to enjoy his life or have a sense of living in the Western world would have to go to either Europe or to the U.S.
Exactly. No, you were saying earlier that if they have an interest there, then it might affect them. But obviously, like even we just said right now, anybody that's traveling to the U.S. is only doing so because they have an interest there, whatever the interest is.
Exactly.
So what are you saying then? Are you saying that there's value to the actions of the U.S. or there's no value to it? Because I'm a bit confused right now.
You know what I'm saying? That as far as the investor is concerned, there's no value because it's not a deterrent. But for the U.S. interest, and it's a deterrent, what it means that anybody who wants to have access to their own area will not be involved in this. But for the Nigerian
Okay, all right.
It's a deterrent at all.
Okay. Pardon me, a commercial break comes up shortly. We've got headlines at 5:30 p.m. And of course, the major news comes up to about the hour at 6 p.m. Well, let's get your text still, once again via Twitter and Facebook at Nigeria Info PH. I'm not sure I have enough time for another. Do I? Do I have enough time for another call right now? I'm not sure that I do, as a matter of fact. Okay, let's see how it goes. Hello, Hard Factor, welcome.
Hello, Dayo.
Hi, go ahead.
Yeah, so you asked if it has any impact. It has no impact because the guys are just going to continue. I mean, you can go to any part of the world. You can go to Europe, Dubai, and still have fun, and do their medical. If they don't go to medical terrorism over there, they go and get their medical attention. So they don't. It has no impact at all. It has no impact at all.
So why do you think the U.S. is doing it then?
Well, I think it's just using the old whip. In the past, these things used to work because, I mean, how many places Dubai was not that developed, and U.S. used to have the autonomy of power where people want to go to the U.S. But I think that old whip has since worn out. It's a very weak whip right now. So I think U.S., I mean, I don't know why they still use it, but it has no impact. An old whip, they use it for long, and right now it has no impact anymore. Because people can go elsewhere and still spend that money and still do whatever they want to do and come back to Nigeria and mess things up. Yeah.
So it's of no essence at all.
It has no impact in my view. It has no impact. Yeah.
Really? So what's the U.S. thinking then? Are you suggesting that the U.S. did not think this through properly before announcing it?
Well, I think that's a great question, really. Look at what's going on in terms of, things around Ukraine. Look at Ukraine, for example.
Yeah.
And the kind of, certain beliefs that the Western world gave to Ukraine, and Ukraine is crying about certain things right now. I mean, it's just the bragado. Sometimes this bragado is happening, the cowboy bragado, but I don't think they thought it through. Or they still think maybe it can impact the average Nigerian leader. But honestly, the average Nigerian leader can, like I said, there are many other places they can go to. What do they need to go to the U.S. for? Yeah.
Well, you brought up the Ukraine matter. I know it's a slight digression, but what does the U.S. have to do with the Ukraine-Russia war right now?
Oh, okay. So, so the Russia-Ukraine war, I mean, before the war started, there was a lot of confidence Ukraine had that, I mean, they are protected by the U.S. and the Western world. But
the U.S. and the rest of the West were never going to be an active part of the war. That was clear from the beginning.
yeah.
Okay, all right, great to hear from you. Thanks for calling in. Let's see. Let me go for the next commercial break. U.S. ban a visa makes no difference. Even the Nigerian government will not mention anyone. Would the U.S. say that they don't know the politicians? That's from Ezekiel. Levinus goes, the underminers of our country's democracy over the years have been the thugs, and their sponsors are always sacred goats. These thugs have no business traveling overseas. So how about the sacred goats? They travel, don't they? You know, they travel as well. Or will they even travel mostly, I suppose? Anyways, a break for the commercial break now. Well, yeah. Discussions continue afterwards. Major news at 6 p.m. Do please stay with us.
with Dion.
Hello, welcome back to Hard Fact to Nigeria Info and Harry Port Harcourt, the number one talk station. I'm Dion. Discussions continue. We got 23 minutes to go before 6 p.m. Top of the hour at 6. The major news is on. But for the moment, let's get your take. Story come to the Punch newspaper. FGOK's US visa ban on election riggers. The federal government says whatever action taken against anyone who undermines the nation's democracy, watered by the blood of many patriots, is right and justified. Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, said this on Monday, and he was responding to the decision by the US to slam a visa ban on some Nigerians believed to be responsible for or complicit in undermining democracy in Nigeria. The decision was announced in a statement recently issued by the U.S. Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken. So what I'm asking is, by the way, first and foremost, will this have any particular impact? You know, what effect will this have? Will these persons who are undermining Nigeria's democracy suddenly decide to stop undermining Nigeria's democracy because of a potential visa ban against them? Or even if the visa ban is implemented against them, would it stop them from continuing to undermine Nigeria's democracy? Also, who determines who these election underminers are? Is it the U.S.? And if the U.S. determines that they are undermining Nigeria's democracy and goes ahead to issue this visa ban against them, do they suffer any consequence in Nigeria? I mean, if the U.S. has determined that they are once again undermining the democracy, what happens in Nigeria? Will they still be part of the elections if they are contesting positions and all of that? You know, 0700 93 093 is the number to call. Hello, Hard Fact, you're welcome. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, Dayo.
All right, go on.
I'm Chief calling from a chair.
Go ahead.
Over the years, we all know that the underminers of our democracy have been political talks. Their sponsors, being the bosses, then have been treated as sacred goods. All these talks, do they have any business traveling overseas? The answer is no.
So I don't. I'm struggling. I'm trying to understand the point that you're making. So, are you saying that because you started by saying the thugs are the ones undermining the democracy? So are you saying that the points you refer to as sacred goats who sent the thugs out are not undermining the democracy?
They do that, but the authorities do not treat them according to what the law. That's why I said they are treated as sacred ghosts. They are untouchable. Mostly when they win the elections, they now grow horns.
Have you heard of anyone being prosecuted for electoral offences in Nigeria? Whether they are the ones you refer to as sacred goats or the ones you refer to as thugs, have you heard of any prosecution and conviction on electoral offences?
The people that have been convicted, maybe they are arrested and taken to state CIDs in the various cases, have been the thugs.
Have you? No, the question I asked you a question. I asked you a question. Have you heard of any prosecution and convictions on electoral offences, either of sacred goats, as you call them, or thugs, as you call them? That's my question.
I've not heard.
Okay. In other words, very likely it hasn't happened before. So what's the difference between the ones you refer to as thugs and the ones you refer to as sacred goats?
I am saying that their sponsors, who are the real underminers of our democracy, are treated as sacred ghosts.
All right, good to hear from you. Hello, Hot Factor, welcome. Please go ahead.
Hello?
You're welcome. Go ahead, please.
Yeah.
Hello, go ahead.
I think that particular ban is in order and it will help improve our electoral process.
How will it do that?
Yes. Because most of them, when they, indulge in this electoral malpractice to get some kind of favor into governance, they go out there to spend that money. They go where the system works, where things are in order, and they spend the money there. And remember, they said that their family members are also going to be affected. Some of them, which means that some of them that have their children in the U.S. schooling there, they will have to deport them back. Yes, it will not automatically solve all the electoral process problems we have in the country, but it will go a long way.
Let's assume you're right. Let's assume you're right, and they have children who are schooling in the U.S. and the visa ban affects them as well. Let's assume you're right. How about those who don't have families in the U.S. or their children are not schooling in the U.S.? How about those ones?
Yes, those of them that do not have children in the U.S. or may want to go there for maybe pleasure or to seek medical attention.
Okay, let's talk about those ones. How about those who want to maybe they're planning to go to Disney World in the summer, or go to Miami or wherever, or they want to go to Las Vegas. Why can't they go somewhere else? Why can't they go to the UK? Why can't they go to Paris? Venice is nice in the summer. Why can't they go to the UK as well?
I'm not saying that they don't have other alternatives. But there are some places, there are some of them that most of their investment are there in the US.
How do you know that most of their investments are in the US?
Of course, now some of our politicians that are schooling money, most of them invested in the US and the UK. Yes. So they invested there. So let's assume that you have an investment there. I'm not saying that all of them invested. Let's assume that you have an investment there and you are banned from entering into a country where you have invested all of the things that almost everything that you're schooling in Nigeria. But definitely now, it's going to affect. So I'm not saying that they will solve all the problems, but it will solve it to some extent.
Okay.
At least the US have done their own.
Okay, so those election on the minors, the election on the minors who have children studying in the US, or who want to go to Las Vegas in the summer, or who have investments over there, if the US slams the visa ban on them, they will suddenly stop undermining our democracy. Got about 16 to go before 6 p.m. Once again, the major news is up at 6. Let's get your take. 0700 923 0923 is the number to call. Let's get your take. Also via facebook.com/Nigeria Info PH. Also via Twitter at Nigeria Info PH. The federal government has backed the position of the United States government to impose a visa ban on presidents who are deemed to be undermining Nigeria's democracy. But then again, the question I asked earlier on, who determines who a democracy underminer in Nigeria is? Is it the U.S. that determines that? Is it the Nigerian government? Who should determine that? I'm asking you this. Who should determine that? Hello, you're welcome. Hi, go ahead.
Okay, for me, the issue here is that Nigeria working means they lack the capacity. And tomorrow we'll say we're a sovereign nation. Like the question you're asking now, who determines for? I know actually that some of these people have investment in some of these countries, and whereas if some of those bans are placed on them, it will affect them somehow. But I've not heard anybody, because they are not made public, and I've not heard anybody that have been banned. When campaign started, when this electioneering campaign started, we had some, this person, let him go to US now, let's see, this one, let him go to UK. They all went there. We were expecting, was there any issue, ban on all these people? I didn't want it in all these countries. But at the end of the day, none of them were wanted. They were free. They went to US, they went to UK, they went everywhere. But my most was this, that how could Nigeria now rely on another nation dealing with those who they also perceive to have offended, to have committed undermined our electoral process? You're not saying that you don't have capacity to deal with this rule. That is the worry I have. And it's unfortunate.
But do you think, even if that's the case, do you think this sanctions by the US will have any impact at all here in Nigeria?
If they ban anybody who undermine our electoral process and have any investment in their country, it might have some kind of, it might deter the person. Because if the US say, look, what you did in Nigeria, for that reason, we are not giving you access, or we are limiting election, for instance, the person might be worried because there will be another searchlight on him. And let me not undermine this. There will be a little deterrent, and some other persons will also learn from that. But we've not had anybody, from the inception, we've not had anybody being disciplined or being banned from having visa.
Okay, so what's your suggestion is? What your suggestion is that your understanding is if an election on the or democracy on the minor is banned now, the ban will be lifted later. The president is allowed back in the U.S. and the president might change their mind against undermining the election in the next elections.
Yeah, that's what I think. If a country like
okay, so why shouldn't I undermine the elections this time around? The U.S. will ban me for a while. The ban will be lifted eventually. I'll go back to the U.S. and then the next election I undermine again.
For me, that's not a good. That's not a way to discipline somebody who undermines. It's not about other nation, other countries banning the person. For me, that law is not active. That action, if being taken, yes, it's not actually deter, but I just felt somehow. That's what I think. Somehow. But two, it's not made public. Who is banned? We don't know. The names are not published. We've not heard of anybody dealt with in that. So I don't think it will also have any impact. I'm only saying if they will make it public and if they will enforce it, it will somehow.
All right, sir. Great to hear from you. Many thanks for your contribution as well. Hello, Hard Fact to welcome. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, Mr. Bayo. My name is Clark and I'm calling from Degima River State.
Go ahead, Clark.
I want to speak on the topic that the U.S. government will issue a ban on Nigerian politicians that involve themselves in electoral malpractices.
Mm-hmm.
The U.S. government, this is another policy for them to confiscate Nigerian assets in the United States. That's what I'm saying. Because this statement is targeted on Nigerians that have huge investments in the United States, and bringing up this policy will make them confiscate, or they will not have direct access to the assets which they have in the United States, thereby the United States control the assets of Nigerian politicians.
The U.S. government did not say it was going to confiscate any assets. We just talked about a visa ban. How does a visa ban amount to confiscating a person's assets?
Okay, if Nigerians that own these assets, these Nigerians that will be banned from going to the United States, they will not have direct access to monitor their businesses or assets in the United States. I don't know whether you get what I'm saying.
So if I have a business or investment or assets in the U.S. and I'm undermining democracy in Nigeria, and for that reason the U.S. imposes some kind of a visa ban on me, why can't I secure the services of some asset managers or investment managers in the U.S.? That's in the event that I don't have a friend or family member over there who can take over these assets. Why can't I contract the services of investment or business managers or asset managers to take over those assets?
You want to hire people that will manage your assets for you. They can as well influence those persons that are managing your assets in the United States. Hello?
Okay. So let me get this straight. Are you suggesting that these people that the U.S., according to you, is targeting would have committed no offense at all, wouldn't even have undermined our democracy? The U.S. is simply trying to take over assets.
I think the U.S. government does not really have Nigerians at heart. If they had Nigerians at heart, they would have. There is some.
Go on.
Hello.
Go on.
If they actually have Nigerians at heart, those persons that are undermining the Nigerian democracy, they will have forced them to bring this, because they definitely they'll run abroad for security. They will have forced them to come back to Nigeria to face the law.
Wait, just a moment. Isn't that the whole essence of the visa ban?
Yes, apart from the whole, I mean Nigerians that have violated electoral practices that have been banned by the United States. Exactly.
Okay, this is a bit confusing for me, really. But once again, isn't that the whole essence of the visa ban?
whole
which by the way, remember you said was a ploy to take over people's investments and properties. Remember you said that just
of Nigerian politicians in the United States.
So and for that to happen, assuming you're correct, even though by a long shot, but assuming you're correct, that means that there is an actual visa ban in place. You do understand that, don't you?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Great to hear from you as well.
Thank you, Mr. Tayo.
9213, hello, you're welcome. Please go on.
Dayo, good evening.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, the visa ban, I've not seen it working out anything. I could remember during Abacha's regime when Ken Saro-Wiwa was killed, there was they said they are going to impose a partial Guinea on Nigerians. That didn't stop water flowing. So all this is USAID is just cosmetical. I've not seen them being serious over the political instabilities or corruption in the third world nations. We were here in 2014 when according to then president that he was undermined because he couldn't agree with them. Then the present government, which has inflicted much hardship on Nigerians for this period of time I've lived in the past 60 years, this is a government that have inflicted much pain on Nigerians. They are still good friends of United States. So I'm not taking this country called United States serious. Terrible things are happening in the third world countries, and you can't see them do anything.
What is it that they ought to do?
I could remember there are some countries they have directly. For instance, this Ukraine-Russian crisis now. The money U.S. have invested there, maybe 1 naira.
So for the U.S. to show you that they are serious about what's happening in your country, in Nigeria, for example, the U.S. should have spent the same amount they spent in Ukraine in Nigeria.
At least they would have used the most especially in the area of insecurity.
Okay, sorry. I have to go for a commercial break now. We got the news at top of the hour at 6 p.m. But I hope that caller remembers there's an actual war, a full-scale, full-blown war going on in Ukraine. All right, stick around. Discussions continue shortly.